Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my 2015 or USW Top Rope 2015 preview video. Um, Now I know USW Top Rope was filmed earlier this morning. It is, excuse me, it is currently Saturday, September 26, 2015, and the pay-per-view will air tomorrow night, Sunday, September 27, 2015, at 8 o'clock p.m. Um, I wanted to try out a new method or a new system or a new format for these previews. And what I'm going to try to do is not predict who I think is going to win. Because even though I say every single week, I'm not telling you who's going to win. I'm not promising you these people are going to win. And I'm not going to tell you someone's going to win to throw you off. I'm speaking from a fan's point of view. And sadly, a lot of people don't really understand that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop predicting, and I'm just going to start going through the matches and talking about the pros, the cons, positives, and negatives. Of course, the same thing. It's the same thing. Shut up. And that's pretty much that. For those asking for why I have not been posting very recently, I am very, very, very busy. I've got a lot on my plate, and you may not see very many videos from me every week or whatever. Just know that I'm not leaving this channel. I'm not gonna stop posting or anything. So there's just gonna be a lot of gaps in between videos. Will you shut the fuck up? Shut up. Thank you. Anyway, Top Rope seemed like a good pay-per-view. From what I've heard, from those who were there live, for those in the back, whatever. I stayed clear away from any TVs. There are TVs and monitors in the locker rooms that we have, our own individual locker rooms now. I left mine off. Or watch the news on mine or something like that. I just did something with mine, and instead of watching Top Rope, so that way I wouldn't know who won, and I told everybody to not let me know who won. So whenever somebody would see me go by and they were talking about the show, they would make sure, let's not, talk about, I don't know, I won or I lost or etc. etc. And the only winner and loser I know of the match was from my match. So, and that's obviously because I was in it, and I obviously did not watch my match because I was participating in it. So, I will be watching that back tomorrow night. So yeah, but I got the information of the match card. I've got the information on who's competing in it, of course, and I got the information of what order the paper, or whatever order, what order the matches went in, and there was a total of, including a dark match, which is, I guess, something they wanted to throw in there just for shits and giggles. I don't know, but they just threw in a dark match between TJ and Unity, which I thought was a good use of the dark match, since it was always used to give the talent that didn't really have that main roster appeal a match on a pay-per-view in front of a couple people. So I liked that. But including the dark match, there was a total of 9 matches on the card. That includes the dark match and the top rope match. And we get into the dark match first between TJ and Unity. There's not much I really want to say about this match, since it was a dark match. It's not really leading into, it's not going to really lead into anything. TJ doesn't really have a storyline at the moment, and Unity is just going in a boatload of different places. So I guess there's not much else to say about this match. I've heard that this is like something that's supposed to be happening just once here at Top Row, because there wasn't that much time to put on all these matches on the card and still have time for what would be an hour long, at least 45-minute long top rope match. So they kind of added the stipulation of the dark match in to kind of draw a little bit of interest, I guess. And that's pretty much that. Nothing else to say about that. Then we got the kickoff match, which actually was for a championship. It was for the international championship. Ash defended the international championship against James. These two always have great matches. I always like seeing the technical high flying uh, matchup against technical and high flyers. Fuck, the technical wrestlers and the high flyers match up with other technical wrestlers and other high flyers. I like seeing them butt heads and really kind of switch up their game. And I think tomorrow night you can really expect a lot from this match. It seems as though it would be a match of the night candidate, because from what I've heard, in the back, oh, it was a good match or whatever, or it was a great match, or it really stole the show, whatever. I think this match may be one to catch your eye, and we'll see if it catches my eye. So, of course, tomorrow night when I watch the pay-per-view back, I'm going to have the same type of reaction that you guys have. I've stayed clear of social media. I've stayed clear of everybody else. I told Prophecy and Anarchy when I was in the car ride home with them not to tell me anything about the pay-per-view other than if the matches were good or not. So, since I heard positives about this match, I'm going to go ahead and say you miss this, you may want to record it and watch it back, because this seems like a match that could seal the show. And then we get into the third match, which is for the USW Tag Team Championships, and it is Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin going up against, or defending the USW Tag Team Championships against the Northern Lights, Blaine North and Samuel North originally from Ferocity. I like the matchup between Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin as a dominant tag team, kind of ruling the roster right now as tag team champions. And of course, they have the longest USW Tag Team Championship reign in USW history. They are at the top of the food chain in the tag team division as the tag team champions. They have gone through all their opponents. They've conquered all their opponents. And I think Samuel North and Blaine North will really put on a good match with Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin. But at the same time, I don't see... You can hear me talk through this mic, right? Okay. I can't see a positive by taking the USW Tag Team Championships off of Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin at this moment. I think you really need to build up the tag team division to have that strong core. And then once the tag team division has that strong core, build all these tag teams into something great. And then you can really have a competition of who will conquer Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin. But right now, I don't think the Northern Lights really need the USW Tag Team Championships, nor do I think they should have them at the moment. They are still a developing team. They are still newbies, so there's really no reason why they should have the most coveted or most sought-after tag team belt in USW. That's my personal opinion. So moving on from that, we have the no holds barred match between Washington and Morbid. This match, or this feud, has been going on for months now. I would like to say since May or April, and it's really been interesting. It's really still brought interest to me, especially considering after the few or after these past 5 months, it's still kind of fresh because Washington was injured for about a good month and a half or so during the feud, which meant Morbid had to do something else, and then they kind of replenished the feud, but it didn't make it feel like it was just driven out and out and out. Thank you. I don't know why I'm saying thank you. There's nobody handing me the glass of water. I'm getting it myself. Is what I should be saying. Thanks, cup of water. Um, the feud has been going on for a couple months, as I've already said multiple times. But what really interests me about this feud is what it's doing for Washington. Fucking ass. Um, no, it's not fucking Washington's ass. What it's doing for Washington. Let me try something. What it's doing for Washington currently is building his character up to be something special, something meaningful. He's got this whole gimmick of going batshit insane because he's not been able to beat Morbid, and it's driving him off the wall. It's driving him to a point where he's going crazy, and now he's finally snapped. So I think now that he's finally found his breaking point, it would be a good idea for him to beat Morbid and then end the match with another Washington victory. Some people will argue, oh, you've buried Washington over the past 5 months, so just end it here and try to rebuild them up again. I don't think they've buried Washington. I think they've done something great with him. He came into USW in December of 2014 looking to make his name known, looking to leave his mark. And at that point in time, he really didn't have a path or a direction. He kind of came in and just wrestled a few random matches as the first wrestler in USW history to just come out of nowhere and debut on Intensity, after not being seen on any other show, like SWO, Stardom Wrestling, or any independent shows. No, he came to USW. He worked USW. He worked in the private. Excuse me. He worked at the private shows, and he just really left a mark. So they wanted to bring him up to the main roster, and the Intensity roster, and he looked bland. And then he went into the Extreme Championship picture, but he didn't win the title. And then he just kind of went in his own direction. And then he got this whole gig with Morbid that really put him in a good direction, and it really brought some character to him. So for the first time in a long time, for the first time ever, Washington has a stable character that he can go a long ways with. And I think a win against Morbid here at Top Rope will be just what Washington needs to solidify that character as something special. So Morbid, on the other hand, I don't think he really needs this win. He's beaten Morbid many times. I think he fought Yo-Yo Joe at Capital Carnage, and I'm not sure if he won or not, or if it was a draw. I'm going to assume Morbid won because Washington got involved. I believe that's what happened, if I remember correctly. But Washington got involved, and Morbid won by disqualification. That's what I'm going to guess. Excuse me. But Morbid has gotten handfuls of wins over a long period of time. He had a great set of matches with Washington before Washington got injured. He had a couple great matches with Yo-Yo Joe until Washington came back, and now it seems as though he'll have another good match with Washington. And the only way I see this feud ending is at No Regret in about 3 weeks' time, and with another Washington win. But anyway, moving on. Blue Belt Championship match. Anarchy defends the Blue Belt Championship against Titanfall. The match seems as though it will be interesting. You don't usually see Anarchy face those taller guys like Titanfall. He'll usually face someone a little bit shorter than him, or or on par with him. But he's never really faced a guy like Philip Akron or Chris Ross or Titanfall for that matter. And I just keep looking off to the side. I'm sorry. I think this will be interesting. Um, and what else will be or another thing that will be interesting is to see if Anarchy can really put on a at the least decent match with Titanfall. The match hasn't really been built up well. I'm not even sure if it's going to culminate into a feud. Most matches at a pay-per-view in USW does. Or, I'm sorry, most matches in USW or on USW pay-per-views do. Um, but it seems as though Anarchy needs this win, and I'm gonna say it like this. And I'll get to Titanfall in a moment, but I'm going to say it like this. Anarchy has really gone nowhere after losing or after exiting the Blue Belt Championship picture the first time, and really went on his own, did nothing, and then came back to the Blue Belt title picture and picked up the Blue Belt title again. Ash has been doing well on his own. I see no real reason um, why you could have or why you could say that Ash hasn't had a good career. I mean, he's won the international championship twice now. I think twice at the least, or at the very least once, and he's the current international champion at the same time. So they really took James into a different picture, but they kind of Anarchy kind of fell back, and they put the blue belt title on Anarchy. And after a good feud with Prophecy and a couple great matches, he's going into feud with Titanfall, and I know even USW knows, the board knows, the staff knows that this is really a downgrade from Anarchy and Prophecy. So they're going to want to see if Anarchy can really capitalize on Titanfall to see if they really did make a mistake by having Anarchy fall back in the cracks the first point in time. But I think if Anarchy were to put on a good match with Titanfall, USW would really be much more cautious about putting Anarchy in a spot where he can be forgotten about. Um, so I think Anarchy really needs this win in order to be rememberable. Or I'm sorry, distinguishable from the rest. And then you have Titanfall, who's really fallen in the cracks ever since leaving the Extreme Championship picture. I mean, he had I'll say at the very most a decent feud with Philip Akron and Chris Ross, but that lasted about a month, and then he's put into the Blue Belt Championship picture. Excuse me. The build up to the match was pretty damn good. It was different, and until last Wednesday night, the match was not even finalized. So it's not like they had the match finalized, for 3 or 4 weeks in advance of the pay per view, and then had the rest of the weeks just trading attacks. They really built this up over matches. Anarchy is pissed off that Titanfall keeps getting the better of him, and doesn't want him to have the last word, I guess, or leave on the last note. Whatever. Um, I don't. I don't know whether Titanfall needs this win or doesn't need this win. I know he does need the win in order to not be forgotten, really, if he hasn't really been forgotten yet. He's just fallen into so many cracks that he's taken so much time to get out of, and it's really not worth it. And USW is not doing anything with him. So, I mean, at this point in time, I would say Titanfall needs this win to be, or to not be forgotten, but it seems as though he already is. So why bother giving him the Blue Belt Championship? I don't know. Both performers need the win, but I think Titanfall needs it more. I think Anarchy can do pretty well on his own without the Blue Belt Championship. And obviously, I'm saying this, or I'm talking about this, not knowing or not taking into consideration the fact that they may pull a draw card, or they may not pull out a draw card and have a disqualification or count out finish where both performers technically win. Titanfall wins the match and Anarchy gets to keep the title belt, whatever. But I think Titanfall needs it more. But if you're going with, if you're gonna pick the winner via who's got the most going for them with the win in this match, it's got to be Anarchy. I'm gonna say that. Next match is the three-ways match for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. Yes, the three-ways match. Hold on a second. Stay with me. Three-ways match. Dustin Raymond, yes. Prophecy, yes. Clyde, what the fuck? Where did he come from? Now, if you haven't watched USW over the past couple of weeks, you wouldn't know, or if you hadn't watched it this past Wednesday, and since I didn't do a review on it Wednesday, you wouldn't know that Clyde was inserted into this match because I believe he defeated Dustin Raymond in his open challenge. So Martin Reese now taking over for Kyle Reese, since Kyle Reese was ambushed by the former Ferocity performers. Martin Reese is now pulling a full-scale invasion and putting Clyde in the World Heavyweight Championship match. So this now means that Clyde has a 33.3% chance. I'm sorry, a 33.333333333333333, etc., percent chance of walking out of Top Rope 2015 with the World Heavyweight Championship, which means the Ferocity performers or the Ferocity side will have the World Heavyweight Championship with them. I don't like that. I already think it's a bad idea that we're putting into effect an invasion angle, but now to give the World Heavyweight Championship of the promotion to the Rebels, I just don't like it. It seems like it's gonna make things worse. I haven't watched it, too much in depth to really think this may not be so bad. But I mean, if you look at the past, what invasion angles have really worked in any professional wrestling promotion? None, really. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of the invasion angle, of course, between WWE, WCW, and ECW. I can think of the Nexus. I can think of the Core. Man, nice. Those are just off the top of my head. I'm not even naming every single fucking invasion angle. But, this just doesn't look good. Excuse me. I mean, there are parts of me that want to say I know Clyde's gonna walk out with the world title because it would make sense with the angle or the way that they are going. But I really want Prophecy to walk out with the world championship. Now, let me break it down via performer. Dustin Raymond is obviously not going to win this match because he is leaving in 4 days. That's right, September 30th, 2015, Dustin Raymond is no longer on Ultimate Showcase Wrestling. He's no longer signed to Ultimate Showcase Wrestling. His contract runs out that night. So, obviously, they're not going to put the World Championship on Dustin Raymond unless they're going to have him lose it on that intensity. That's the only way that Raymond's going to win it. And he really doesn't need to win this match because he's got nothing else after this. He's got maybe one more match, maybe a goodbye segment. I don't know. That's it. Nothing else. He's not going to be fighting at Bulletproof. He's not going to be fighting at No Regret. He's not going to be fighting at Aftershock. He's not going to be fighting at No Forgiveness. He's not going to be fighting at Insanity. He's not going to be fighting at... Shit. The 2016 pay-per-view lineup is still skipping through my head. I'm so used to the 16 pay-per-view lineup. He's not going to be wrestling at Final Chapter. He's not going to be wrestling at Call to Greatness 11. So, he's not going to win this match unless he's going to drop the title on Intensity. Prophecy... He's had very amazing feuds over the past year. Amazing rivalries, amazing matches. I think Prophecy, in my opinion, could be the underdog or the wild card to win Superstar. I'm sorry, wow. I just went into WWE Slammy Awards mode for a minute. He could be Performer of the Year this year. I think he's a very good wild card for that title. Excuse me. He's had so many great feuds, and yeah, that's just based on performance alone. His Performer of the Year, but he's had so many great feuds with Anarchy, with Dwayne Porter, with Western Light, with Dustin Raymond over his entire career. Hell, even with Anarchy, with Ash, with Alexander Rotten before. So many great feuds. My gosh. This guy is incredible. He's got such a great in-ring presence. He's got such a great moveset. He's got such a great physical presence. The fans are always on his side, and ever since he started feuding with Anarchy, the fans have gone bonkers over him. So, oh, and James is another one. So, do I want him to win? Yeah. I want Prophecy to win this match. I don't think he needs to win the match necessarily. I think he's got a lot going for him, especially as a mid-card performer. I think they're doing this to really try to or make an attempt at establishing him as a main event player. Excuse me. But I think for right now, until you have some star power in your mid-card roster, until then, he needs to just build up the mid-card roster with the help of like Anarchy and Ash, those great performers. And then once the mid-card roster has kind of an established core, I think then he can be a solid main eventer. But I think until then, he really needs to kind of stay in the mid-card level, as much as it pains me to say that, because I would love to see Prophecy as the World Heavyweight Champion or as the USW Champion. Or hell, even put the Ferocity Championship belt back on him. Kevin Storm still carries that belt around with him. I don't fucking know why, but he does. So, fuck it. Have Kevin Storm drop the belt to Prophecy. I don't know. Have him be the leader of the Ferocity roster. That'd be interesting. He would be a heel, which wouldn't be all that great for his current direction, but it could work. He's a great worker. I don't think he needs the win. And it kind of pains me a little to say that, because now that I realize he doesn't need the win, or now that I know what I say he doesn't need the win, I know in my head USW feels the same damn way, which means Prophecy's not gonna win the match, and that can only leave one other option: Clyde. Clyde just stepped into the Raw Intensity roster not even a month ago. I'm not even sure he's officially listed as a Ferocity or as an Intensity performer. Quickly, I'm not going to do it myself, but in the comments below, tell me if he is or if he is not in the comments below. But go to www.uswofficial.weebly.com. Go under the tab for Intensity performers and see if Clyde CLYDE is listed on that roster. He doesn't need the win. He shouldn't win the match, but he's gonna win the match because that's what they're gonna do to build up this fucking invasion angle. Fine. You know what? I can't really fight it. I don't want Clyde to win this match. By Clyde winning this match, it says that Ferocity or performers that aren't very used to the USW standard way, or hasn't really gotten over with the fans. That's just saying that any performer can hold the World Heavyweight Championship, which kind of demeanors the championship belt itself. I don't want to talk anymore about this because I'm going to be talking out of my ass very soon, if I haven't already started. Next up is the unsanctioned match between Weiler and Zach Hardy. Excuse me. What am I going to say about this match? Well, right now, I'm not even going to talk in a fan's perspective. I'm going to preview it. Weiler stepped up to the Intensity roster at Capital Carnage, and he really made a splash, and the fans have really started getting interested into this character. It's kind of like a new rebirth of Enigma in a different way. You know, he doesn't wear a mask, he wears face paint. He doesn't really wear layers of clothing to protect himself. He wears, you know, whatever he finds soothing or whatever he finds fitting, like, you know, a long sleeve security guard shirt, and you know, he always wears gloves, you know, either, you know, fucking I can't even think. Tights, trunks, fucking dress shoes, I don't fucking know. He'll just wear whatever he feels appealing for him at that moment in time. And he's crazy. He's insane. He's batshit insane. He'll always wear his fucking giant gown, dark cloak jacket to the ring with his gloves, with his fucking, I don't know what you call his fucking hat. It's like pointed in all four directions. It's like if you threw it like a frisbee, you have a at this point, you have like a half percent, I'm sorry, a 50% chance of throwing it at a wall and having it sticking in. He's just crazy. And he does what he wants, and I love it. I love it because that's exactly what Zach Sarah is. Not Zach Hardy. That Zach Hardy is USW's wrestlers, USW's product. This is Zachary Sarah. I mean, I'll probably be changing my name to Zach Hardy at some point in time in the future. I'm not lying. I'm actually gonna change my name at some point in the future. I don't know when, but Zach Hardy for right now is a USW product. Zachary Sarah is, he doesn't care what people think of him. He does what he wants, whenever he wants, wherever he wants, however he wants, whenever he feels like it. And he doesn't give a shit. And the same thing goes for Weiler. And that's not even what Enigma was. Enigma was just batshit insane. Weiler will play mind games. He's insane, but he also adds mind games. He twists your thoughts. He fucks with your head. Mind games. And the fans love it. And this feud could definitely be in the category of feud of the year. Weiler versus Zach Hardy already. Because the fans are already getting behind it. And it's one of the most talked about feuds so far of the year. You know, fans are like, do I cheer for Zach Hardy, the good guy? I cheer for Weiler, the one that's really cool that I really want to cheer for. Why do I suddenly feel the urge to cheer for the heel when I'm really a fucking face lover? Shit, it's so hard to choose. And that's just, the fans just go back and forth. They'll cheer Weiler or they'll cheer Zach Hardy, or they'll cheer both of them, or they'll boo both of them, or whatever they feel like it. Weiler is amazing. Weiler is an incredible performer. And I think he needs the win. Here's what this is, now I go in fan mode. I think Weiler needs the win. Because he just showed up to the roster. This is different from Clyde because Clyde is going for the world title. Clyde doesn't necessarily need the world title. But why? And Clyde is also a part of the Ferocity, you know, fucking Rebels, whatever. Weiler is not. And Weiler is not going for a world title. Weiler is not a part of the Ferocity Rebels. He is his own person. He stands alone. He's a lone wolf. And he needs the win because in order for him to say that I am incredible, he needs to say, I beat Zach Hardy. I got into Zach Hardy's mind. I kicked Zach Hardy's ass. I took him to the breaking point. to the point of no return. And at that point in time, you can really take Weiler as a serious threat. I think this could play out well for both Zach Hardy and Weiler. That's all I'm going to say. Now, don't twist my words around. Don't beat it into the point where it's beaten out of a... Don't pummel it into oblivion. I'm going to leave it at that. Then we get into the three-ways match for the USW Championship. Great. Another three-ways match for one of the world titles. It is Alexander Rotten defending the USW Championship against Alex Martin and against George Martin. I'm just gonna, end my point on this really quickly. None of them need the win. Alexander Rotten is a dominant USW champion. If anybody needs the win, it's him to continue being a solid USW champion. Alex Martin, George Martin, they don't need the win, and if one of them were to win the match, then that's more than likely going to break up the Martin brothers again. Because one's going to get jealous of the other for holding the biggest prize. And then we're going to get Alex Martin versus George Martin for the USW Championship, which is something we don't want to see necessarily. I mean, it would be entertaining, but I don't really want to see it for the USW Championship. They already tried that with Bret Hart and Owen Hart, fucking WWF. I don't think I want to see that in USW. But Alexander Rotten needs the win. I have a feeling that Hernastley and Amore will come to the aid of Alexander Rotten, and then Crimson Red will come to the aid of Alex Martin and George Martin. That's just the way I'm thinking it's gonna go. I'm gonna say Alexander Rotten needs the win. Alex Martin, George Martin, they don't necessarily need the win. They just need to put on a good match and a good feud with Alexander Rotten. And that's ultimately where this is going to lead into, a feud between the Martin brothers and Crimson Red against, Alex Rotten, Alexander Rotten, Hernastley, and Amore. Alexander Rotten, Hernastley, and Amore. I'm tired. I'm sorry, guys. I'm tired. I fucking woke up at 6 o'clock. Got down to Hartford at like 8 o'clock. Filmed Top Rope from 9 to 12. Got home at 1 o'clock. Talk about a beating. For fuck's sake. Yeah, it's so bad. I got a bump on my elbow from a fucking bar shot. I don't mean like a bar shot, like a bar stool or at a bar. I mean a crowbar. Thunk. It wasn't necessarily meant to hit me directly on the elbow, but it did. Because I'm stupid and I didn't move out of the way fast enough. I also got a little bit of a red mark going around it. It hurts when I press down on it. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. I'm talking on my ass. We're on to win. All right. Then we get into the 2015 20-man top rope match. I wrote down some of the performers that I know are going to be in it. I already know are going to be in it. Hold on. Fantasy football, fantasy football, fantasy football, DSFL, 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 DSFL. Here we go. 20-man top rope match. We know, of course, hold on. We know, of course, Mika Jordan, Jake Porter, Austin Atomic, Xavier King, Otis Crane, and Kevin Storm are going to be in there. That was already announced last Wednesday night. We already know Amore, Hernastley, and Crimson Red are going to be in it. We already know Dwayne Porter is going to be in it. We already know Western Light's going to be in it. We already know Majigita is going to be in it. We already know Double XL is going to be in it. We all know Capital Carnage. Capital is going to be in it. Chris Ross, Philip Akron, and that's who we know are going to be in the match. Looking at the participants that I see in front of me, the only two, maybe three valuable options are Majigita, Western Light, and Kevin Storm. Because if you look about it, or if you look at it, Mika Jordan just got here. He doesn't need the win. Jake Porter doesn't need the win. They both don't need a world title shot. Austin Atomic does not need a world title shot, even though he's entertaining as fuck. Let's be honest here. Austin Atomic is one of the most entertaining fucks from Frosty. He's great. He's a great heel. Xavier King and Otis Crane look like they're gonna be a tag team. Fella Backlund and Chris Ross aren't really gonna main event Bulletproof. I mean, Ezra and Kills did that last year against me. But I don't see Chris Ross or Philip Backlund doing that. I think that was a one-time thing. Capital is for some reason just falling into the cracks. He needs to get back into the world title picture, or hell, even the USW title picture, please. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Amor, Hernastley, Crimson Red, they're just gonna get involved with Alexander Rotten, whatever. And I don't know. Majigeta, Western Light, Kevin Storm. Those are the only three people that I can really think would win it. I'm gonna cross out Kevin Storm because he's a Frosty performer that just kind of came up, so I don't think he's gonna really need the win, even though he's the most likely out of the Frosty performers to win. He's most likely out of the three to win. Shit. No, I don't think Kevin Storm's gonna win. Then we got Majigeta and Western Light. I think Majigeta is doing fine out of the championship picture, so I think he's not, or I don't think he's gonna win. I think the only other valuable option is for Western Light to win. He came, or he didn't come. I'm sorry. Shit, I should stop talking. But I'm doing a live review, so I can't really stop talking. Otherwise, people will... Fuck it. I'm tired as shit. I'm sorry, guys. This is an awful preview. I'm going to say Western Light's going to win. And I'm going to predict that because of the fact that he dropped the World Heavyweight Championship. He didn't get his rematch because there was no person to fight against for his rematch. So I think having Western Light win will be the one-way ticket to getting him back in the championship picture, which is what I think he really needs to stay relevant. That's it. Surprised we haven't seen guys like Yo-Yo Joe or Seth or Lone Wolf or announced for the top rope match yet. I'm very surprised in that. I'm very surprised in that. That's pretty much it. That's all I have. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.